Welcome to the American Nephrology Nurses Association's 50th Anniversary podcast series. In this commemorative series, past presidents and other leaders of the American Nephrology Nurses Association will provide a rich history of the association itself and of nephrology nursing as a specialty nursing profession. The American Nephrology Nurses Association's 50th Anniversary podcast series is brought to you by the Nephrology Nursing Journal, the official journal of the American Nephrology Nurses Association. We are honored to present this episode, and we hope you enjoy these invaluable and enlightening nephrology nursing recollections.
Hi, my name is Norma Gomez. I'm a member of the Nephrology Nursing Journal Editorial Board and a past president of CNNe. Today, it is my honor to interview Donna Bednarski, who served as president of CNNe from 2009 to 2010. Donna, I want to thank you so much for talking with us today about CNNe and nephrology nursing.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm excited to do it.
So let's start at the beginning. When and how did you become a nephrology nurse?
Actually, it was by accident, and it happened to be with my first job. I actually wanted to work on a chronic ventilator unit. I was a student nurse at the time, and that unit had appealed to me, but there were no jobs available. So I took a job on a special care unit, which happened to do PD, and I'm aging myself a little bit here, and that's where patients actually came in 3 days a week for 10 hours, and I loved that unit. However, that unit was then redesigned as part of the intensive care unit. I worked that for about 6 months, but didn't really care for it, so I returned home and worked for many years on an inpatient acute care nephrology transplant unit.
Let's talk a little bit about your role as president of CNNe. So what was really happening in nephrology nursing in CNNe during your presidency?
Well, for CNNe, we were really faced, and still are, facing a lot of challenging economic environment issues. And we really had to start taking a critical look at the budget and try to balance that with membership needs. At that time, we were definitely able to grow and expand membership services, but staying within budget. As far as nephrology and nephrology nursing, back then we were dealing with the nursing shortage and that impact on patient care. So there was a lot of focus at that time on recruiting and retaining experienced nurses because they were fairly hard to come by. Another area that saw a lot of growth during that time was evidence-based practice and research, and really having that drive care, as there was a lot of lack of research in nephrology-related arenas, and focusing on educating the staff to become active to ensure their practice was, in fact, evidence-based. Electronic medical records was also a hot area, and we really had to look at how it would meet the needs of our patients, whether they were on dialysis, off dialysis, or transplant, because most medical record programs were not designed for our patient population. And again, coming from that acute care perspective, in 2008, Medicare stopped reimbursing hospitals for treating avoidable hospital-acquired conditions, which was really a change in philosophy on how we got paid. So pressure ulcers, falls, traumas, UTIs, and infections really became a focus for how we cared for patients.
That was an interesting time. So is that part of your challenge for nephrology nursing, or were there other things that you saw as a challenge?
Those were challenges because, again, kind of moving along the same time, the biggest challenge was Medicare improvements for patients and providers. The MIPA regulations were released at that time, and which really impacted looking at quality of care and how it's paid for. So it was real critical to develop a team from CNNe to develop a response letter to ensure nursing's voice was included, because that was going to impact how we were able to provide care.
That's great. That's great. So you used a lot of task forces to respond to all these challenges.
Absolutely, making sure that we look within our own nephrology nursing world for those experts in that area.
So what was the biggest advancement for nephrology nursing or CNNe during your presidency?
Funny, I would say one of the biggest things we really accomplished over the year for CNNe was a lot of the Go Green initiatives. We actually implemented electronic voting, electronic membership renewals, the virtual town hall meeting, online meeting evaluations, and expansion of the online library. So we really looked at our opportunities to rid paper.
So the electronic voting, did you see that there was an increase in voting?
Initially, we didn't see much of an increase in voting. And again, I truly think you got to try something and keep it going to get people's interest. I think the year after that, we saw a little increase in voting, and I think we're always looking at opportunities to increase voting. So again, we need to hear your voice so the people you elect represent you.
Perfect. All right. So what do you see for the future of ANA and nephrology nursing?
Well, I see that nephrology nurses need to continue to stay at the forefront of knowledge and technology. Technology continues to grow and expand in pretty much every avenue that we do to take care of patients. Whether it's a piece of equipment, a piece of medical records, there's always something to learn and grow. And for myself, in my role, we're now doing percutaneous fistula placements, and now getting that knowledge out to all the dialysis units is critical to take care of that patient population. We really need to be increasing our activities in evidence-based practice and research, and really making sure that we're grounded in theory that makes sense and has been proven. And I truly believe, and it comes from my health policy background, that more and more of our practice is being driven by policy initiatives. It is more critical than ever to ensure nephrology nurses have a voice in health policy. We know how to take care of our patients, and we need to make sure that we're able to do that, especially when we know it's evidence-based practice.
That's great. Before we end, I know that during your term of office, you were able to meet with President Obama. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, that was very exciting. I had the opportunity because we are a specialty nursing organization under the American Nurses Association, and they were approached. They wanted to have a special press conference with ANA and the specialty nursing organizations. So when we got the call, I was on the plane the next day. It was supposed to be in the Rose Garden, but unfortunately it was raining. So we did have to take it inside, but it still was just as exciting. So there wasn't a large group of people. I mean, there was good nursing turnout, but when you look at just the specialty leaders, I think there was more security than there were people in attendance. And I think there was just as many cameras. It was a very exciting experience to see him.
Wow. Well, I'm so glad you represented ANA then.
I was so glad I was president at the time.
Yeah. So, Donna, I really want to thank you for your service and leadership as president of ANA and for allowing us to interview you. Thank you so much for taking your time today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
The American Nephrology Nurses Association's 50th anniversary podcast series is brought to you by the Nephrology Nursing Journal, the official journal of the American Nephrology Nurses Association. This series is owned and produced by the American Nephrology Nurses Association. All rights reserved. No portion of this podcast may be used without written permission. For archived episodes of this podcast and to learn more about the American Nephrology Nurses Association, visit the association's website at annanurse.org. You can also subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, our hosting site Spreaker, and other various podcast delivery services.